You're listening to the Decentralized Talk Podcast, your crypto connection.
Decentralized Talk. Decentralized Talk.
All right, guys. Welcome to another outstanding episode of the Decentralized Talk Podcast. This is our 32nd weekly show now in production. Guys, we're growing our audience every single week. We appreciate everyone out there, all your comments, and all the love. We're going by leaps and bounds. We've even engaged in a partnership with the super popular coinedify.com crypto news and information site. And we're getting more and more of the crypto influencers that influence your life on the show every single week. As always, this week, we got our massively popular 3-on-3 Fast Break segment. We got Nova Coin, we got Travel Flex, and we got Scorum Coin. Our spotlight this week is on Bitcoin Cash. Decent, this is not investing advice. This is just our opinion, so do your own research when investing in cryptocurrencies. All right, topic of the day, we're talking about hard forks, we're talking about soft forks, and we're talking about airdrops. So for a lot of people out there, I don't think most people know the difference. Most people know about a fork. I would say it's pretty common that most people know about a fork, but let's just assume that you don't. Let's assume that you found this podcast and you're trying to learn about
sporks.
You only know sporks. You have only been to Popeye's Chicken.
Maybe you got some chopsticks, though.
You might have chopsticks. A little side fact. I grew up, I spent a couple, probably 3 years of my life growing up in South Korea. My dad had a really good friend. He was a doctor in Korea. They actually had like a contest. They were talking about like kind of like East versus West. They did like a series of like competitions with like my dad would use a fork and Dr. Chong would use chopsticks, and the chopsticks won. The chopsticks actually were he was better with the chopsticks than my dad was with the fork, because like, you know, they did things like picking up, like they did like little like pieces of like Oreos. Cheerios. They put Cheerios out, like 5 Cheerios a piece or whatever, and they timed each other, like putting them in there, and the chopsticks went out. So maybe we should stop calling them hard forks and start calling them hard chopsticks. I'll throw that out there. I'll let the community decide. So without further ado, Heston, tell me, what is a fork to begin with? Just what is a fork? What does it mean when you're talking about forking? Everybody knows what spooning is, but what is forking?
But everybody knows what forking is too.
Hey, not everybody.
Okay. So forking is a blockchain term. Basically, so if you you listen to our episode on the blockchain basics, where we kind of discussed how Bitcoin works and how blockchains work. It's basically a chain of blocks chained together, and those blocks hold data or transactions. So a hard fork is, or a fork is when, due to some kind of consensus, part of the community in that blockchain decides to either upgrade the blockchain in some way, add a new feature or something like that, or to completely fork off and start a new coin. So we'll kind of go deeper into that later. But basically, when you fork off the original blockchain, you can either do a soft fork or a hard fork. And
wait, why would you want a fork to begin with? Like, why would a fork even exist? Why is that something unique to crypto?
Lots of different ways, or lots of different reasons why you would want to fork. So some examples would be to upgrade the technology. So for example, we'll use Bitcoin, I think, primarily as examples. Like if you wanted to increase the transaction speed. So in the case of Bitcoin, there's different schools of thought. And the cool thing about this decentralized world is there's no CEO or corporate entity that's going to make this decision for us. The community has to gather together and make these decisions. So in the case of Bitcoin, there's kind of two different schools of thought of how they can increase transaction speeds. And instead of getting, where at the peak of last year, where it would take like a day to do a transaction.
Is that basically Bcash or Lightning? Is that the same? Is that what you're talking about?
Basically, yes. So like a soft fork would be SegWit, okay? A software fork. A soft fork is where you're upgrading the technology on the blockchain. So SegWit happened back in 2017. Nobody even noticed that it happened. The blockchain was upgraded at that time. That's a soft fork, and that's basically it's easier to visualize. So on a podcast, it's going to be kind of hard to explain here, but I'll do my best. So you have the original blockchain, and then at some point the community decides that something needs to be updated or improved, or a new feature needs to be added. And if there's a consensus, and they decide on a soft fork, meaning that it should be upgraded, that blockchain will then be forked off, or basically you can think of it like an on-ramp on a highway or an off-ramp on a highway. It's going to go off the highway onto an access road or service road. And on that service road, it's going to be upgraded in some way. So in the case of Bitcoin, it was SegWit. They introduced segregated witness, and I think we talked about
But it doesn't have to be an upgrade necessarily, right? It just
not necessarily. That soft forks are usually some kind of added feature or upgrade or something like that. So while it's on this access road, it's going to be upgraded, and then once that upgraded is added to the blockchain, it's going to go right back onto the highway and join that original blockchain. That highway is that original blockchain. So that would be like a soft fork.
But you still you cannot access the old. Well, you can access the old part of the chain, but you can't do it with the old technology.
So yeah,
explain.
that brings into the fundamental difference between a soft fork and a hard fork. A soft fork is backwards compatible. A hard fork is not.
And so you say a soft fork is not as desirable as a good hard fork?
I mean, nothing beats a good hard forking.
It depends.
Who doesn't want to get forked real hard?
So you're just saying a soft fork may leave you like
Backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
You haven't reached the peak of excitement with the soft fork, but the hard fork takes you over the limit.
Well, I don't know. The innuendos are kind of starting to not to make sense now, but like I said, the fundamental difference between a soft fork and a hard fork is soft forks are backwards compatible, hard forks are not. So a soft fork, the blockchain can be upgraded, or a new feature can be added or changed in some way, and then it goes right back to that original fork, and all the transactions therefore before and after will be on the same chain. A hard fork, and both of these, like I said, are when there's a consensus. So the community of that chain has to agree that this will take place. The majority community has to agree that this will take place.
That on a soft fork? That's not true.
Yes.
No, because anybody can fork a coin.
Yeah.
But
a hard fork or a soft.
Exactly. So you don't have to have consensus to do it. Why not?
Well,
It's just
if you want to go back to that original chain.
Well, no. Okay, so yes, you're correct.
No, but yes.
No, but yes.
I'm
because
confused.
I could go on GitHub and say, okay, here's the Bitcoin software. Here's the Bitcoin blockchain, and say I'm gonna do a hard fork of Bitcoin and call it Bitcoin
Trash.
Yeah, Bitcoin Trash.
Be trash.
Mm-hmm.
And do that and fork it. And
That's a
create my
hard
own coin.
fork, though.
Well, I mean,
you're saying for consensus.
But if nobody minds it and nobody does anything with it, it's just useless. Everybody's still on the Bitcoin blockchain.
You're right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. So consensus isn't
You have
Okay,
to,
so back to your highway analogy.
A consensus
You
isn't
can
mandatory.
build an off ramp. Somebody could build an off ramp
but nobody's going to use
that
it.
nobody uses, and it's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, okay. I mean, I think that's fine. So still, we'll go with the model of the off ramp. You're driving along the road. You're building progressively more and more bricks in this blockchain. Progressively more and more bricks in this road, in this highway that's going forward. People can build off ramps to nowhere, and people may not use them.
Mhm.
Those are hard forks, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to. Well, yeah. So Bitcoin Cash is a great example of a hard fork in Bitcoin that tried to solve transaction speed problems and that kind of things. Or, well, I'm not gonna say problems because I think
I was just
this is a debatable thing, right?
talking about Litecoin Cash because it's one of those off ramps that went to nowhere, basically.
Yeah.
Litecoin Cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a good effort, though. I mean, there's a lot of coins out there. I mean, if I would have thought of Litecoin Cash, I would have gave that some,
So we kind of all understand a soft fork. It's when you kind of get off the main blockchain, something is upgraded or implemented, and as long as there's consensus, it goes back to that original blockchain and is then backwards compatible for the rest of the blocks that were previous. That's like a soft fork. So a hard fork would be where you can't get back on that highway. So you go off the off ramp, and then a consensus is developed that says, we're going to get off that off ramp and we're going to go on another highway, another blockchain.
So what do you guys think if you had the power to, let's just say you guys were like badass coders and devs and you could.
So in like reality, I guess.
So basically reality. So just picture you're you.
Yeah, I mean, I am one of the original developers of Bitcoin. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Hey, listen, Satoshi. Heston.
Hey, whoa.
So just picture you're like a badass dev. And so what are the things that go through your head when you decide, okay, do I create a coin that's a fork off of Bitcoin, or do I just create a coin from scratch?
That's a good question, because it really depends on the community and like what your communication with the community is. So when I say community, I'm talking about nodes. Okay, it all comes down to nodes. And a node is basically somebody that has downloaded the entire blockchain that can interact with the blockchain. So like a miner would be a part of a node, because you've downloaded the blockchain and are verifying transactions. Now, like a mining pool, it's the pool that's downloaded the blockchain, and everybody that's kind of mining through that pool doesn't really have the entire blockchain. But at the end of the day, those are nodes, and those are the people that can make decisions. So if you smaller coins, it's much easier to have like an entire node, and then you could be part of those decision making times. If I was a dev and I thought something needed to be changed, would I fork off of a coin or just create my own coin, kind of based on that that coin's code? Man, I don't know. It just depends what I was trying to accomplish. Like, okay, so like Bitcoin Cash is a hard fork, right? That was everybody was trying to decide how to make Bitcoin transaction speeds faster. There was a school of thought that said we can integrate different technologies like segregated witness, and then upgrade the technology in different ways, but not to alter the blockchain. And then there was a school of thought that said, look, we instead of having 1 megabyte blocks that can only hold so much data, we could have 8 or 32 megabyte blocks that would hold much more data, meaning that it would go way faster. So the school of thought that said that there should be bigger blocks, they decided to do a hard fork off of Bitcoin, meaning they took the off-ramp off the highway and decided to go on their own highway, being Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Cash highway. Now, there's also, I've heard the term code source forks, but these aren't actual forks. this is like an example of this would be Litecoin, where basically you take the original code of a blockchain and then create your own cryptocurrency based on that code. So Litecoin did that. They didn't fork off of Bitcoin. They just took the code that was Bitcoin, and made their own coin, and changed, what they wanted to change, and created a whole new cryptocurrency. Lots of coins do that.
That's neat. I guess that's the win and the drawback of being completely decentralized, is that it's totally open source, so everybody can copy it.
It's amazing.
But the awesome thing about it is it's totally open source and everybody can copy it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's like forks are really, really cool to me, because just the fact that like the community at large, like the miners, whoever's running the nodes, they get to decide what should happen and what shouldn't happen. That's just like awesome, that there's no president saying like, you know what, Bitcoin needs larger blocks so we can go faster. And it makes it happen. The community decides what's going to happen. And so like Bitcoin Cash forked off, and it's like, which one will win out? Well, Bitcoin's winning out so far. It probably will win out in the long run, but it's just cool that we get to decide and not somebody else.
What's also interesting about that is the fact that the information software is out there so that anyone can not only fork the coin or soft fork, hard fork, whatever, but they can use that information, that's code, to do whatever they want with it. So, Vitalik might be a genius, but in 2 years from now, there might be a super genius that comes along and says, oh shit, look at this. I can do this with this code and just take it to the next level.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, look, that's already happening. I mean, just for the example of like, yeah, that's what you were saying. I think Brandon was like the open source factor is like, that's just amazing in the space. Like, just for Ethereum, for example, it's like, look at Cardano. They took the Ethereum code, and that guy Charles Hoskinson was on the development team of Ethereum, but he noticed flaws in their code that he thought could be fixed. So he decided to take their code and start his own cryptocurrency and just change the things that he thought should be changed. It's just cool that can be done. There's no, it's not like it's copyrighted. It's
okay,
not
so
like
I'm gonna throw the big monkey wrench in here. So I agree that I really do agree, and I think it's beautiful that we can do that now while crypto is basically still in its infancy. No matter what anybody says, this is still in its infancy. But what happens when 80 or 90% of the global population is invested into Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum, and
we're all rich?
And we're already, yeah, we're gonna be, first of all, we're gonna be rich as shit. So I guess
I don't care what happens.
I don't care what happens to you peasants at that point.
Yeah, at that point, just stay off my fucking island, guys.
Stay off that island, yeah. And basically, if you're listening to this podcast right now, you're probably at least an investor enough that you're gonna be rich with us. But let's say for the peons that are left on this planet, as the CEO of BP said after the oil spill, the little people. So if those people are heavily invested into, let's say there's a top 3 cryptocurrencies or top 10 cryptocurrencies, and somebody says, oh, I found a flaw in the code and you really need to do it like this, and all you people that have your livelihoods tied up in the specific coin, actually that coin's total bullshit. You need to be on this coin.
Yeah, but if they create that new coin, more than likely, if they're taking it from the source code of the coin that you own, you're going to get a portion of that. Like when Bitcoin. But
like, what if it also said like coin code fork?
Yeah, you're going to get. So you're either going to get coins for the fork or an airdrop. The majority of the time, everybody that owned one Bitcoin at the fork of Bitcoin Cash, I don't know what the block was, but they got one Bitcoin Cash for every Bitcoin that they owned.
Yeah.
See, this is another thing that kind of freaks me out about the future of this. Like, we can't get people in the United States to admit that they need to go get a driver's license, or like an ID card. So, how are we going to hold people responsible for uh, like, like I don't know, would you like log in for the fork, or like log in for the airdrop?
Well, I mean, all that stuff will play out. You know, it will.
This guy's a
easier.
farmer in Tibet, and
All that stuff will become
He's got
easier and
3G.
easier and easier, and like people won't even have to think about it or worry about it. It's gonna be, I think, in 20 years' times, it's just gonna be like a thing. You have your debit card, and it just things go on beyond the scenes. You don't really know.
for us, but I mean, like in a global economy. So, when you're talking about like the farmer in Tibet with really terrible dental hygiene, he can't.
Why does he have to?
Well, how does he have?
What is
How
that?
does he have Bitcoin? So how does this farmer hold his Bitcoin that he's having at this time, Tater?
Well, I think that's the whole idea of it. So many coins, like think about like OMG, like Omisego.
Yeah. Okay.
Those coins are targeted. Those coins are designed for impoverished nations, particularly in Southeast Asia. People who it's weird. It's weird to think of as an American, I think, but particularly as a Texan, this is like the one. We talk about the 1%. This is like the 0.001% economy of the world, Texas in America. So I think it's probably hard to relate to, but there are so many impoverished nations across the world that people have nothing. They live in a mud hut. They have no indoor plumbing or electricity, and yet they have cell phones, and they have access to cell phones. And that's where they do keep these Omisego credits and things like that on their cell phones. These little kind of burner phones that get out there for essentially nothing. And
those are going to be the countries that crypto takes off.
But what
First.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate to your devil's advocate and throw a monkey wrench in your monkey wrench.
Angel's advocate, if you will.
Yes.
All right, throw a monkey wrench at me. What you got?
Well, I didn't. So
You didn't
he's
answer the
holding
question.
his Bitcoin on a cell phone, correct?
Yeah.
And you're asking how's he going to get the forked coin if he's got his Bitcoin on his cell phone, correct?
Well, basically, I'm saying like he's got his currency on his cell phone.
Yeah.
He has no concept of the intricacies of how the coin exists, or even maybe even like a system
have
of currency.
some.
His system of currency is essentially.
Not necessarily. No, I think we'll get to a day when they don't know what.
Well, look at how many people have dollars or cash and have no clue what they have in their hand.
Exactly.
Not a clue of how that works.
It will get to that point.
They
Definitely.
just got. I've got
They know how it
5
works.
of these
They give
green
the dollar and somebody gives them something. I mean, it doesn't get simpler than that.
No,
You know,
you're
you
absolutely
give it
right.
and
The
you respect
barter, the barter economy, the trade economy, yes. But so then when you start adding things technologically advanced like an airdrop or the concept of an airdrop, I think you're going to lose literally billions.
It's already gotten that simple, is what I was going to say, because it's still complex for what it is. But so this farmer in Tibet has his Bitcoin, and he
for dentistry. Don't forget that.
Yes, exactly. And he's figured out how to purchase it. He's figured out how to hold it, and he's figured out that he can barter it for some sort of goods or services. Correct?
Yeah. Okay.
Why would he have it?
You're right. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Well, most wallets that he's going to hold it in, when you receive the airdrop, the fork or whatever, it's just automatically going to show up in there already. I mean, the Coin-O-Me wallet, which is one of the more popular ones, literally you just have to go in and refresh your coin list most of the time. The new one will pop up with the airdropped or forked coins that you received. Some of the more complex ones, you might have to type in a few letters or something like that to add it. Now, I guess the biggest issue would be that if he knows it's happening, but that, I mean, if he ever figures it out, it's going to be there forever. You know, it was given to you at that block. It's never going to disappear. So you can always go back and receive what you've earned.
Yeah, but okay. So I think that's a very good point, and I think actually that makes a lot of sense. Now, I guess my devil's advocate to your angel's advocate would be
a lot of advocates here.
It's like a lawyer convention.
Just
So-
waiting for Keanu Reeves to walk in, or is it
Oh no,
Or Al Pacino?
Al Pacino?
Oh
you know?
yeah. That was
a good movie.
both of them.
That was a damn good movie. Charlize Theron.
Ugh. Isn't there another one though with
Hooah!
where Keanu Reeves is a lawyer and he's like the devil or something? What movie is
Yeah,
that?
that's it. That's Devil's Advocate.
Well, Al
Devil's
Pacino was the devil.
Yeah, Al Pacino was the devil, but Keanu was the. But he was
throwing
in
me off. Like
Oh,
I
I
was,
think you're
yeah.
thinking of Constantine. Well, he wasn't the devil. He was fighting demons.
oh no,
Oh,
no, no.
you're
I was
right.
thinking of the Devil's Advocate, but yeah.
But that is weird that he was also in. How is Keanu Reeves in so many movies? That's the bigger question.
Good actor.
I love Keanu Reeves.
Oh no! What?
Yeah.
He's a good actor. What are you kidding?
Situationally, I mean, have you seen John Wick? That is awesome.
So
That's such
good.
a fun movie.
And John Wick too.
Hostage.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Shoot
easy
the
to make fun of
hostage,
him because
bro.
of like Bill and Ted's
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I mean, really, if you look at his work, he's
Yeah.
done some really good movies, and he's
Well, the same thing
Good
with
actor.
Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage.
well,
And
nah,
Nicolas Cage
terrible.
is also a really good actor.
Ah,
I don't know.
That has been in some terrible movies.
Nicolas
well,
Cage is the
okay,
same.
okay.
character in
Nicolas
every
Cage,
single movie.
I guess I can give that.
Raising Arizona,
He's a,
Con Air. I mean, Snake Eyes.
Con Air. Everyone in Con Air is the greatest actor ever.
Yeah. Those are his good movies. Then you look at the ones he's made that are terrible. He's still a pretty good actor in them. The movies are just awful.
the bees, all the bees. Which one's that? Wicker Man. Yeah, he has.
I don't know what the bees are.
I think he's just got a bad agent on Nicolas Cage. He's
I
just
think he
like,
ran into some money issues and he's just like,
Yeah,
give me every
probably.
movie that comes my way. I will. do it."
Eleanor.
Oh, we got a little off track. I mean, honestly, with this whole like the future of what's going to happen, I think, I mean, my honest opinion, I
That is
think
redundant.
as it grows, I think there'll be less and less hard forks and stuff like that, and at the end of the day, if there's I think
Why
I think
would
we
there
haven't
be?
necessarily explained this with the hard fork.
Why would there be less hard forks? I mean, I can see
well,
practically why,
because I
because
think,
it would get
you know-
cleaner and cleaner. But I mean, there'd be, if anybody could just do it, which is true at all times for the rest of history, anybody can just create a hard fork if they know.
Yeah. Look, if you hold Bitcoin and Binance, go look at all the little coins that you have: Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Black, Bitcoin Cash. If you've held it there for a long time, you'll have a bunch of coins that you've never even heard of, because of the little hard forks. But I mean, do you know anything about Bitcoin Diamond or Bitcoin Black or whatever? No.
So that
I'm
brings me
pretty
to my
interested.
devil's angel advocate thing. Brings us full circle, and it brings us full circle because so have you guys ever seen that website where you can go? It's like a government website for money that's owed to you.
Yeah.
And there's like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you get overpayments on stuff, and they just couldn't reach you because you moved or whatever, and then they hold that money and they send it to a thing.
Mhm.
So what about that kind of thing? Now we're talking about that on a global scale. So this guy that's the Tibetan farmer, he may have like a shitload of Bitcoin Diamond waiting for him somewhere, but he has no clue that this exists or access to it or anything.
Well, how's that any different from today? He probably has no clue that website exists, but if they had that in Tibet, then he could go on it and see if he has any money there. So I think it's the same kind of situation.
I think that's valid.
Well,
I don't know,
first,
but I'm just saying,
I'd like
I thought
to.
it should get
I
better.
kind of want to step back because, like, I like to explain these things kind of like on a basic level, and we've been talking about like, getting free coins basically, and I don't think we kind of hit on that with the hard forks. So like with the hard forks, since they fork off of a certain blockchain, and it's duplicated. So in the case of Bitcoin, when they forked off of Bitcoin, that Bitcoin blockchain was duplicated into Bitcoin Cash. Those coins are also duplicated. So most of the time it's 1-to-1. Sometimes it's not. But
It doesn't even have to do it.
it doesn't even have to do it. So like in the case of Bitcoin, there's how many Bitcoins?
19 million.
16 million, something left now.
Well, no, I mean like total. whatever there is total.
21 million.
Whatever there was at the time,
original
there
21 million.
There was that exact amount. There's that exact amount of Bitcoin Cash. And so, yeah, every 1 or 0.0001 of Bitcoin you had at the time of the fork, you had that exact equal amount in Bitcoin Cash. And so that's all the hard forks work. Majority of the time, you will get a 1-to-1 ratio of whatever coin you hold. But it doesn't always happen like that. Again, that's a consensus thing. The community decides if you're going to get 1-to-1 or half of 1-to-1.
So that's another thing that freaks me out is a community consensus, because
like freaked out a lot, Tater.
Yeah,
I know.
You're freaking out, man.
You're freaking out.
You're gonna have a heart attack. You need to calm down.
Freak out, man.
Simmer down.
So think about it like this. So the United States government is not a democracy, right? It's a constitutional republic. The reason for that is because if you have a shitload of people, and a shitload is defined relative, but if you have a shitload of people that are making decisions on something as individuals, what tends to happen, and this is what the founders of the United States government found, is that people get influenced by like pop culture, or somebody says
pop music.
Pop music. Well, that's a throwback. But somebody says like sugar's bad for you. And then if you have a straight democracy, like
I don't
democracy,
think much of a debate on that one.
Okay, let's say somebody says salt is bad for you.
Okay. All right. Well,
okay, let's go for wine. Let's talk about wine, because wine is one of those that's like people are like every year you see some very highly credentialed Ivy League research white paper that comes out that says that a glass of wine will kill you, or a glass of wine is actually it's so good for you. It's so good for you. Yeah. Everybody needs to be doing it. And then it's like, if you do it, no, it gives you cancer immediately. So you basically just melt your throat. Hey, you drink one glass of wine.
Got so much cancer at this point. Then
it melts your throat. Funded by the Southern Baptists of America. Or wine is so good for you. Funded by the Vineyard of California.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess what I'm saying is.
What are you saying?
Everything in moderation.
No, when you have
drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly. So when you have an absolute consensus-driven, individual consensus-driven democracy, the problem that arises is that someone publishes a document that says wine is bad for you, and then the masses get together and act like a fucking unit, and they say, "Fuck wine! Wine! Erase wine! Get rid of wine!" And then it goes away. And so that's why, again, so the United States government's a constitutional republic. So you elect people, that you have a popular vote for each state. Each state represents, they send a representative. The representative votes in Congress or in the Senate. And
you hope that no corruption is going to take place.
Yeah, and still there's so much corruption. Yeah. There's still so much corruption, right? So what do we? So how does crypto solve that? Maybe that's a big question, but
there's a few things. That I want to address. I agree that the masses. I agree that the masses do not make right decisions most of the time. So you can't really depend on the masses. But in when I say like consensus and they're making decisions, this isn't like everyone that uses Bitcoins. These are the nodes again. These are the miners. These are the people that are verified transactions. So it's not necessarily like everyone that owns Bitcoin that's making these decisions. It's the ones that are like directly involved, like in the deep levels of it. So it would still be a smaller group of people making the decisions, but maybe that's a problem that Bitcoin can't solve. And I don't know. I mean, I think
that's called a plutocracy.
And if you don't like it, fork it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I go back and forth with this. I mean, right now I'm kind of at the point that, none of these coins may ever be a global currency. There may never be a global currency. But what they could be is a store of value like gold. And there could be one that is a currency like cash, but there's still multiple currencies around the world. So it doesn't have to be this global scale.
Like a PayPal.
Yeah, exactly. So it could also be like that. And and people might think like, well, then how am I going to become a millionaire with this? Well, yeah, gold is still
You should have
like
bought it like 3 years ago.
we're we're still well hell if it even gets to 10% of what gold is, we'll all be millionaires. You know, it's still really 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 small relatively to other currencies. So it doesn't have to be this global currency. It can just be another currency, but if it grows to even be in the conversation of other currencies for normies, that's what I like to call them, then it would still be a huge value. Million, it could be $1 million a coin, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a global currency. And so these debates of like, you know, the masses, it would not necessarily be on a global scale. I still prefer it over a government making decisions for me.
Okay, well, I think that does it for that segment. I think that was a really good segment. Let's talk about our coin focus, and that's Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash happens to be the original Bitcoin fork. Prater, what do you know about Bitcoin Cash?
I know Bitcoin Cash is obviously, as we discussed earlier, a fork of Bitcoin. I know that it has an awesome front man in Roger Ver.
I just want to clarify for everybody. Is it Veer or Ver or Ver? I want to know. That's what we need. That's what I think we need.
We'll have to have him on the show. I've heard it all three different ways. I like to think it's Ver, but I've heard it.
I have no idea.
All three ways.
I know it's VER. That is.
The world may never know. You know, it's one of those like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll?
One.
How many ways is there? How many ways does it take to get to the real saying of Roger Ver? Fear, ver, there.
But
fear.
And in Texas, we say Roger Var. All right. Okay. So enough about the creator.
They forked the coin because they wanted to improve efficiency. So they broke off from the original Bitcoin network, basically so they could have faster transaction speeds and lower fees. And the way they did this was by increasing the block size from, I believe, 1 megabyte to 8 megabytes, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Yep. And that just allows for more transactions to be processed per each block. And obviously the idea behind that is larger transaction volumes, or the larger transaction blocks make faster transactions and
right, because everybody's competing with credit cards right now. Credit card, you walk into Walmart, you swipe it. I mean, if you're highbrow, right, you walk into Walmart and you swipe it. That was a joke about Walmart being highbrow, and you instantly get your discount brassiere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know where you're going.
The whole reason. So some people are like, why is a transaction speed so important? Transaction speed is so important because that's the thing that competes with the credit card making transaction. A cash transaction is instant because you're physically changing the money with the cashier. But a credit card transaction can be super slow because it's got to go through about 5 different companies, literally about 5 different companies, and then kick it back to the computer before everybody takes a little piece out of that transaction for you to accomplish that task of you buying that.
Yeah, I mean, like credit cards basically work like Lightning Network. You know, they're off chain. They're basically holding that money in an escrow account, and you're not physically transacting from bank to bank at that time. You know, you're doing it kind of off chain. So I mean, really, we saw back in December like the problems of transaction speeds. So like you take Bitcoin where it can do 1 megabyte and takes 10 minutes for each block, and and it would be basically a total of like 5,000 transactions a day, as opposed to like Visa, which does like I don't know, thousands of transactions a second. So you can't even compare it. So like if Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency wants to compete with any kind of credit card company, I mean, they've really, really got to step up their game. And there's a lot of coins out there that do that. But I think people started to realize, like, the more popular Bitcoin got, that we got a serious problem on our hands, because this thing is not scalable to be able to handle like serious transactions. And so, some people decided, let's up the blocks.
And that's a big ripoff in the credit card industry. That, like Prater said, the credit card company Visa is not really doing 30,000 transactions a second or whatever. They're really doing them over the course of a day or a couple of days in agreement with the banks. But there's clearinghouse companies in the middle of those that are basically vouching for you, that are just taking a little piece of each transaction to make it happen faster. But with Bitcoin or with the cryptocurrency, it's the owner, operator, and the employee, and the labor and everything. It's the janitor. It's everything in the transaction. It literally, the Bitcoin is all there is. Whereas these other companies kind of can use other companies and take little pieces of your money to make their transactions faster. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we can all see that Bitcoin Cash does, it does solve the transaction speed problem in a way.
But so does Lightning, right?
So does Lightning. I mean, I think they both have their downsides, and we've yet to see what Lightning can really do, because it's too early. Now, Lightning has grown really quickly, like way faster than I thought it would over the past 8 or 9 months or so. But Bitcoin my personal opinion on Bitcoin Cash is it's a Band-Aid, and it's not going to actually solve the problem over the long period of time.
Why can't you just keep making the blocks bigger and bigger and bigger?
Well, that's what we're already seeing, though. But every time you do that, that's another hard fork. So originally when they forked off of Bitcoin, they were 8 megabytes, right? They took it from 1 megabyte, which is Bitcoin, to 8 megabytes in Bitcoin Cash. Then on May 15th of 2018, they did a separate hard fork with Bitcoin Cash. It was still Bitcoin Cash, but they made 8 megabytes 32 megabytes. So that would mean each time that you want to make the blocks bigger, you're going to have to do a separate hard fork, which to me makes it more centralized, meaning like the community is they keep making decisions for everybody else to up the block size. And I don't think that's a long-term solution. I think it's more that centralizes it more into just this core community, this core development community, these nodes that have been there since the beginning. They're basically making the decisions for everybody else to keep upping them and keep doing these hard forks. And I just don't like the idea of that, honestly.
Well, and also the larger the block size, the harder the information is to process at a level.
True,
because
it makes it harder for miners.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a problem as well. Exactly. So I mean, you want to incentivize the miners because they're the ones verifying the transactions. They're the ones holding this whole puzzle together. I mean, if they're not getting incentivized, then it could all just fall apart. So yeah, the hash rates are low with Bitcoin Cash because the blocks are so huge. It's like, man, how long is it going to take you to win a block? Your chances go down like significantly with these huge blocks. And so why would you mine it when you could mine Bitcoin instead? It just, I mean, there's a lot of good things about it. And it could end up being the retail coin that people actually use for day-to-day transactions. And then Bitcoin is like the gold. Who knows? Who knows? It does really kind of solve that transaction speed issue. But
for the short term.
Yeah, it's just, for me, there's just too many issues with it for me to just say, you know what, screw Bitcoin, I'm going to Bitcoin Cash. And it's like, I don't understand why there has to be this like sentiment of like one or the other, one's better than the other. I don't think that's really how the decentralized like community should be. I think I think it's great that there's coins out there that are trying to solve problems in different ways, and we should embrace that. And it's fine that there's Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. One that they both kind of serve different purposes at this point, I think.
So I have a theory that is how most crypto investors and most crypto people feel. I think most people do feel like that, but I think it's the same thing like in mass media. You've got a bunch of loudmouth ass people, or I should say you have a few loudmouth ass people on either side of a specific argument. And they claim to represent or purport to represent, entire swaths or groups of other people. And they just get in there and they start arguing with each other. I think the vast majority of people say, okay, Bitcoin Cash, out of respect, like Bcash. I guess that's offensive, whatever. But
like,
I don't know. I guess it is. Yeah.
N-word of the Bitcoin community.
Yeah. So,
it's gotten
Bitcoin
to that.
Cash, yeah, to be respectful. Bitcoin Cash is probably has its place. Bitcoin Classic or Bitcoin. Absolutely.
Core, the Bitcoin Cash people like
Bitcoin Core,
which
Bitcoin.
Nobody calls it except them, but whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, that's clever. Again, that's marketing. You try to define
Bitcoin.com
is Bcash.
Roger Ver's website that goes to Bitcoin Cash. Yeah, pretty clever.
So I think a lot of those type moves like that are the type of things that make a lot of the Bitcoin maximalists dig entrenched deeper in their opposition to Bitcoin Cash, and then it becomes an ideological debate versus a technological debate.
Yep.
And that's, I guess that's the way things go.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I mean, all of this, like, what I find interesting is like Satoshi envisioned all of this. Like, if any of you have read his white paper, if you haven't, I strongly recommend you go read it. It's not that long, and
or her,
or them, or it. I strongly recommend you can skim through the super techie parts, and there's really not that much super techie parts in it. But it is really interesting to read like what his vision was. And like he envisioned a time that scalability would be an issue, but he also he supported not splitting the blockchain. And so Roger Ver likes to always say that Bitcoin Cash is like Satoshi's original vision, but he was against splitting the blockchain, and so that's why the Bitcoin maximalists that's why they're so for like Lightning and SegWit, because they feel like Satoshi's original vision was not to split the blockchain and think of other ways to do that with soft forks. But it's great that like he saw that this would happen, and that he saw that like the community would have to make a decision. The community would have to like come together and come to like some sort of consensus to fix this problem. And he was against splitting the blockchain because he thought that like larger blocks would make it harder for miners, which is basically true.
All right, well said.
Satoshi was a smart man, or woman, or thing, or entity, alien,
or the NSA,
or the CIA.
Satoshi
Or the
Nakamoto
WWF.
backwards. Satoshi Nakamoto backwards says, "I'm the NSA, bitch."
Ooh.
A lot of people don't know that.
I don't feel like that's accurate.
Yeah, write it in and put it in front of a mirror.
I'm not too good at spelling, so I think that's right.
I'm an awful speller, and I know there's no B in Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah, well, this is the original Japanese translation. You gotta.
Yeah. Well, how do you know
Lost in
Satoshi was
translation.
Japanese?
Satoshi Nakamoto? How do I know Satoshi Nakamoto was Japanese?
Exactly.
I mean, how do you know Brian Smith was like a
Yeah, but Satoshi Nakamoto
guy.
is. How do you know? I mean, what I'm saying is, how do you know Satoshi Nakamoto is not some just made up word?
No, I'm sure that it can be. The anagrams for Satoshi Nakamoto are hilarious.
I
by
could
the way.
talk. Yeah, I could talk hours about just Satoshi Nakamoto, about like who I think he is, and yeah, the anagrams and all that. It's super interesting.
But it has nothing to do with Bitcoin Cash.
No. Yeah, so we'll kind of.
Let just
You know
so
Roger Ver is spelled backwards.
Ragar.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we all know what Rev Ragar means.
all right. So just some of my favorites here. Anagrams for Satoshi Nakamoto. Satan Hookah Moist. Probably my
That's
favorite.
it for sure.
There's a lot of Satans here. Satan Oaks. Oh my God. Almost all of these are Satan. Almost every single one. I'm going pages and pages deep. All of these start with Satan.
Well, I mean, Satoshi Yeah, I guess.
Satan at O
Some
Sky
pessimistic
Moo.
Anagram makers there.
I mean, I think this is.
I mean,
These aren't even real words after this. It's just Satan and then oak, and then it's like oak shit moo. So it just says Satan oak shit moo. Okay, so that's probably not the
That's
best.
probably it.
There are some about NSA. I want to find those real quick on the internet.
I mean, there's not really much more to say about Bitcoin Cash, to be completely honest with you. If, we've talked about Bitcoin in the past, it's the same thing with larger blocks. They just have a cheerleader.
They do have. I mean, there's some other things
Satanism.
that they do. Is other than the
Why are there so many about Satan?
larger blocks, but primarily, yeah,
I mean, that's the main stuff right there. That's
definitely.
Ma, I took NSA's oath. A homo's taint soak.
Oh, goodness.
Ass motion, you say?
These should be at the top.
I am NSA, took oaths. Oh, Satanists, amok. That's not a good one. A moist Satan hook.
I'm just getting weird now.
Yep.
Samoan hookah's tit. Okay.
You know what's not a Samoan hookah's tit?
Our 3-on-3 fast break. So good. Okay, so 3-on-3 fast break. Who wants to get started? Oh, let me get started. Our 3-on-3 fast break, that's where every week we pick 3 coins from the 300 level market cap and we make our pitch for that coin. We're going to give you an overview of the coin. We're going to tell you about the price, the market cap, the supply, a little bit about what it does and what potential does it have for the future, if any. Who wants to go first? I'll go first.
Okay, you didn't even finish the question before you said I'll go first. You're like, who wants to go? I'll go first.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't want
You seem pretty excited, so I think
He wanted to go first earlier, and then
Yeah.
he asked again. You want to ask one more time and then deny us once more?
Hey, do you guys want to go first? Because if not, I'll go.
And even if you do, I'm going first.
Well, I'd like to leave it up to a group consensus. There's 3 of us. Who votes that I should go first? Me.
Nay.
Well, 2 out of 3. Just go first.
Who was the high pitched one?
I don't know.
It was him.
That's really weird.
Your mom doesn't get a vote, Brandon.
All right. Hey, Mom, you don't get a vote.
She gets a lot. Trust me, she gets a lot of things, but a vote is not one.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, let's get started. Nova Coin, baby. Nova Coin, baby. Y'all know if y'all know that song, then
No.
obviously not very hip. So just know that. So my time started a second ago. Okay, so Nova Coin. What is Nova Coin? I don't know. I really just wanted to sing that at you.
I don't. What song is that?
It's
Not a song. It's a Chevy car from the 80s.
no, you guys don't know Novocaine?
Oh, Novocaine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know that?
Yeah, it sounds familiar. Who sings that?
Frank Ocean.
Oh,
Come on.
Nirvana?
No, they sing not as many good songs as Dave Grohl's band, the Foo Fighters.
and you are out of time, sir. I'm just kidding.
So Novocaine, NVC, which is the same as North Viet Cong, which is complicated, especially if you're a vet. NVC is at $4.66 USD. It is currently up 12.61%. Has a 10 million market cap, 10 million NVC, a $10 million market cap, 16K USD volume, 2 million NVC in current supply. What is Novacoin? What a fantastic question. This is a dev's coin, right? This is like a dev. If you were a dev and you were looking for a coin to just totally nerd out on, this would be the coin. Their website is actually, it's extremely informative, but it's extremely deep dive in the weeds kind of coin. I'm going to give you an example here from their FAQ section. So one of the questions is, what could you say about Novacoin emission model? And a lot of this is kind of written in not the best straight English, so it's been translated. So just bear with me as I read it. But so what could you say about Novacoin emission model? It's quite simple. There are two types of blocks: proof of work and proof of stake. So far, okay. Each makes contribution into existent coin volume. Okay. So this is one sentence after. It's quite simple. Proof of work block reward can be calculated using formula in block reward equals 100 divided by open parenthesis in max target divided by in current target close parenthesis up caret open parenthesis 1/6 close parenthesis.
Oh my god, that makes so much sense.
And who hasn't? I mean,
It just all clicks.
Right? Yeah, obviously.
I lost you at the close parenthesis.
So basically, it means that the reward is cut in half every 6x multiplied by difficulty. Oh,
I mean, dude.
I was just explaining. I was just breaking it down,
coin?
and I was just simply breaking it down in simple format. I just ran out of time. It's a
I mean,
bummer.
come on, guys, make it a little harder here.
Yeah,
I mean, don't just make a cryptocurrency just
for the dummies.
so easy to understand.
So-
I have no idea what that coin is
Good
about.
thing I'm a dev.
It's a dev. It's a nerd coin for nerds, and you can have a nerd boner. That's
Called a no
does
nerd.
it do anything?
I can tell you that they have over 178,000 unique addresses.
I'm so sold. I'm buying it right now. What exchange is it on? I'm buying it right now.
And one NVC amounts to underscore BTC and underscore USD. So
Okay, well, I just bought 1 million of them, so hope it was good investment.
I don't think you bought 1 million of these. These are actually, that'd be, let's check it out real quick. Real quick. for the people.
$13.
It's $4.66 a coin. So if you bought 1 million of them, you just clipped off about 5 million.
Oh, I probably shouldn't have used my black card.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm sure investing with credit will work out just fine.
Especially in crypto.
Oh yeah, it only goes up until it goes down 91%. Looking at you, Cardano. I still love you, Cardano.
All right. Let's see. Dustin, we'll do Dustin next with scrotum coins.
Why do I always feel like I go last, guys? Why is that?
You want to go next?
See how you feel. No,
We can do
no,
it. We
it's
can throw
okay.
scrotum to the back.
Don't give me a pity second go thing. Just no, go ahead.
Hey, listen, you got a great personality.
Yeah. We'll let you go first next time.
Luckily, our listeners can't see my tears through the radio.
And for those of you who don't know, Heston has a face for radio.
Yeah, that's a new one. Never heard that one.
Anyways, so my coin is not scrotum coin.
He's a burn victim.
It is scorum coin, which is sadly somewhat close to scrotum coin. But you should have dropped that $1 million into scorum coin about 24 hours ago because it's up 51% over the last 24 hours.
Dang, that scrotum dropped.
We should have recorded this last night.
Yeah, but it's got a market cap of 8 million, circulating supply of 29 million. The website is scorum.com/EN-US/about.
I feel like they're trying to copy Nova Coin.
No, they are copying Steam It, basically, for sports. It's a sports blogging information website that rewards both the creators and the curators for their content. They promote the creators to do blog posts about any and all sports, fantasy sports, sports analytics, and photography on any of these sports as well. So basically you post, if your posts get likes, you get Scorum coins. They also have a fantasy platform, and they have betting as well. But to be honest, I tried to sign up earlier, and you get 5 Scorum for signing up, and it's like 40 cents a coin. Actually, I think that's when I did. It was 39 cents when I actually put this on our show notes. It's actually down to 29 cents now. It was up 90% earlier today. But I never actually got logged in. It wouldn't let me pass the passphrase section. So I don't know. I think that might have been my fault, though, because I was using Microsoft Edge like a rook and was having issues. So I don't want to blame that on them. I mean, there's interesting content on the website. I actually am a fantasy footballer myself and browse through some of the articles. And, a lot of people had a few dollars on there from where they got likes and tips and all that stuff. And there was some interesting content on there.
Is browse the past tense of browse?
I don't know. I'm horrible at grammar. So that has nothing to do with the coin. Y'all got any questions? I got 14 seconds, 13 seconds, 12 seconds.
No. That one's pretty self-explanatory, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So sack up and get Scorum. Hesto, you're up.
Okay.
Your time starts now.
All right. I'm really excited about this this coin I have this week. It's
Nova coin?
No. My coin this week is Travel Flex. And this is one that I might actually end up using in the future. It's brand spanking new. I mean, it just got out of ICO like a month and a half ago. I mean,
Still has that new coin smell.
It it does, and it smells so good. So Travel Flex,
Great scrotum.
right now it's trading at 19 cents. Market cap of 1.5 million. Total supply of 102 million, and a circulating supply of 78 million. You can find more information on travelflex.org. So Travel Flex, its name kind of makes it seem like it's focused towards travel, which it is, but it can be used on anything. So basically, it's a super fast transaction coin, but it can also do a lot of other things. Some of its focuses are it's a travel social media platform, so you can interact with other users on the platform that are into travel, so traveling around the world. It uses NFC. It's basically mobile based for the most part. So it uses NFC, so you can transact from one phone to the other using near field communication to trade your travel flex coin. It has charity implemented, so you can donate your coins if you want to. It has 24/7 support, which is strange for a cryptocurrency. It also has a physical card that you can use as a debit card. So Travel Flex is really about traveling and using your TRF coins at different travel agencies, hotels, airlines, stuff like that. But it's also a social media network where you can interact with other Travel Flex members, so other travelers. And there's a few interesting things about it that are different from most cryptocurrencies. One, it's a DAG cryptocurrency, so it doesn't run on a blockchain. Oh man, I'm already running out of time. DAG, for anybody that doesn't know, is a directed cyclic graph. So IOTA is a DAG coin. It's not a blockchain. So it almost is like the Tangle network. So basically, because it's not a blockchain, it doesn't go from one block to the next. It can be super fast. Oh my God, I'm running out of time. Which can do about 3,500 transactions per second. Compare that to PayPal, is about 900. So it's fast, super fast. And it's also free because it's a proof of stake, and they're going to build a mobile master node where you can have master nodes running on your phone. It's interesting. Go to travelflex.org.
I got a question.
Yeah.
How many 3-on-3 coins that you say you're going to invest in have you invested in?
I think one.
That's more than I thought you were going to say.
I think one. But I have said that for, I don't know, maybe like not everyone, but probably 5 or 6, I'd say. Yeah, but usually what happens is like after I say that, like the next day, I'll do a little bit more research and I'll be like, maybe not. Travel Flex is one that I forgot about. I was reading about it was on its ICO.
That's it. We want you guys to get pumped up about these coins. Go check them out because we checked them out. We thought they were interesting. Whatever it was that day that put them on the 300 level market cap on CoinMarketCap, because they move around constantly. Oh yeah. Whatever put them on the list, guys. That's the thing we want you guys to check out and do more research on. Don't invest in something because we put it on here, but do invest in something that we put on here that you find to be a good investment after doing your own research.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's the reason that I like doing the 3-on-3 segment so much, is because like there's a lot of interesting use cases for cryptocurrency and blockchain and not even blockchain. This one's DAG. It's not even blockchain. But there's a lot of like interesting technologies out there, and not everybody has time to look through 1,800 coins. So we kind of pick one each every week and give you the opportunity to like learn a little bit about it really quickly. And then if you think in that little 3 minutes, if it sounds like something you might be into, then you can go on the website and read more about it and decide. It's and we've kind of kept doing it because the community seems to like it a lot.
I'm going to look into a lot harder is Nova Coin, because you opened my eyes.
Well, there might not be many coins left. What was the circulating supply? Because I just bought 1 million of them.
It's 0 now.
Yeah. The price has also gone to 0 since I bought it. Fuck. Oh, well.
That's all right. You could probably contact your credit card company. I'm sure they'll just get it right back to you.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to cancel that one. I think somebody stole my card.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps things up for this episode of the D, guys. Be sure to tune in next week. We're going to interview Surf Cash Coin. It's a coin cryptocurrency for extreme sports, and it's based out of South America. Really interesting interview, really interesting coins. That's what we want to bring you guys on the show. Just things that you haven't heard of, things that you haven't seen yet. And we want to give you exposure to what seems to be a really great team so far. So we'll talk to them, and we'll find out a little bit more about them for you, and hopefully you guys can go check them out. In the meantime, check us out at D-Talk Podcast on Twitter and Facebook, Decentralized Talk on iTunes, Google, Google Music, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Music Coin, your mom's basement. We're everywhere.
Castbox. YouTube. Did you say YouTube?
YouTube.
We are in your mom's basement, by the way.
AM radio.
That's us.
Tape decks. There's a lot of tapes out there.
8 tracks. We just got on 8 tracks. That was a big one.
We're big in 8 tracks.
Vinyl. You can catch our vinyl. Look on Amazon.
Disco Stew is going to be like a partner member here shortly.
Oh, Disco Stew.
Yeah. Links to the website in the description below. Stay decent, cryptos.